Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Kingman City Council on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Miles,
Present?
Vice Mayor Watkins,
Here.
Councilmember Mello,
Here.
Councilmember Nelson, Councilmember Samily,
Here.
Councilmember Scott Staley,
Present.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight, our invocation will be given by Pastor Kelly Lewandowski of Hope City Church. Will you please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you for inviting me to join you this evening. Would you bow your heads as we join together in prayer this evening? Dear Heavenly Father, during this Christmas season, as we celebrate the birth of your Son, Jesus, we thank you that you are our ever-present help in time of need and that you are here with us. Tonight, as our city leaders and members of our community gather, we invite you to be a part of this evening. We thank you for your continued faithfulness and many blessings in our lives. Thank you for this city of Kingman that we have the honor of living in and the wonderful people we have the privilege of serving. Tonight, I pray over these leaders who daily choose to give their lives serving others. I pray that you would abundantly bless them. God, would you grant them greater wisdom to our mayor and each of our city officials. I also ask that you grant them an ability to discern the welfare and needs of the people in our city. Place upon them a desire for justice and righteousness over every area they influence. Lead them in truth, giving them courage to make often difficult decisions. Lord, I pray that they may work together in unity towards common purpose, even in the middle of differences. Lord, would you place your mighty hand over their families? Would you guard them, protect them, and place your peace over them? May we never forget that in every season, nothing is too difficult for you. We acknowledge that you alone are our true source of hope, of courage, and of sustaining grace. We honor and praise you in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening, our first order of business is a series of appointments to our commissions and boards. And the first one is to the Board of Adjustment. Their appointments, the terms of our Board of Adjustment members, Alan Mossberg and Kathy Ortman, will expire at the end of December. Both Mr. Mossberg and Ms. Ortman have expressed that they would like to be reappointed. There is one other current application for Gary Fredrickson for the Board of Adjustment. Mr. Fredrickson's term on the P&Z Commission is expiring at the end of December, and he is not seeking a third term. Staff recommends council appoint two of the applicants to the commission with terms ending December 31st, 2024. Because there are three candidates for two positions, this will be a silent vote. But before we do that, I would ask if any of these candidates are in the audience and would like to speak to the council. Hearing none, I would ask if any members of the council have comments on the candidates or would like to discuss. Hearing none, then I would ask for our Deputy Clerk Ferguson to pass out the votes or the ballots. She's going to read them, so does it matter? I don't know. Well, she shouldn't. It's supposed to be a quiet vote.
Thank you.
Sound effects for the interim.
I like that.
Nelson only gave me one vote. I'm waiting.
Counselor Nelson, do you want to submit another name? You could put 2 people down. Counselor Nelson?
Doing it now.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
there were 5 votes for Alan Mossberg from Mayor Miles, Vice Mayor Watkins, Councilmember Mello, Councilmember Samley, Councilmember Walker. There were 6 votes for Kathy Miles, Vice Mayor There were 3 votes.
Thank you. So we welcome, or actually, we appreciate that Mr. Mossberg and Ms. Ortman will continue to serve on the Board of Adjustments until December 31, 2024.
Mayor, could you guys just do like a motion to approve those 2
Oh,
and vote on that?
Okay,
Thank you.
if you insist.
On occasion.
I
I'll
would
move that we appoint Alan Mossberg and Kathy Ortman to the Board of Adjustments.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. The next appointment is to the Heritage Preservation Commission. The term of Board of Adjustment, I think that meant, that's a typo. That should be the term of Heritage Preservation Commission member Paul DeNublio will expire at the end of December. Mr. DeNublio has expressed that he would like to be reappointed. There is also one vacancy on the commission. However, there are no other applications at this time from persons requesting to serve on the Heritage Preservation Commission. Staff recommends reappointing Paul DeNublio to the commission for a term ending on December 31st, 2024. I don't see him here, so are there any comments from the council or from the liaison to the Heritage Preservation Commission?
I am the liaison, and I know Mr. DeNublio, and he's a great community member, and he's good on the commission. So I will make a motion that we appoint him to another term on the Heritage Preservation Commission. It'll take me a while to get used to that name.
That's a new name. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. And our final appointment to consider is for the Parks, Aquatics, Recreation, and Golf Commission. The Park Commission has one vacancy at this time for a term expiring December 31st, 2022. There is currently one application on file from Julie Lawson. Staff recommends the appointment of Julie Lawson to the Park Commission for the remainder of the term ending December 31st, 2022. Now, I know that we had her application. She's also sent us an email. I think everyone has a copy of that. I don't believe she's here, pardon me, don't believe she's here this evening, but would the liaison to the Park Commission like to comment?
That's me, Mayor. That's
Okay,
me, Mayor.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I highly recommend Julie. She is a retired Kingman Unified School District psychologist, and she just wants to get back in the community and do some good for us, and she'd be great at it. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Julie to the Parks, Recs, and Golf Commission for the remainder of the term ending December 31st, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Next, we are going to have a moment of silence to remember Pearl Harbor, because this is National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, and we want to honor the 2,403 Americans who were killed during the surprise attack on December 7th, 1941, which resulted in our country declaring war and entering World War II. Many of us know and have visited the USS Arizona, where 1,177 members were killed that day. So let's have a moment of silence in remembrance. Thank you. Now we move on to a really happy subject. We're going to recognize the Future Dispatcher Contest winners. And to introduce the contest and kind of tell us what it was involved in the contest, we have our Chief Communications Director, Deanne McLeod, who will tell us what this contest is and the criteria and how it worked. And then we will all provide these certificates to the winners.
Thank you, Mayor Miles. I appreciate being here this evening and addressing the council. Thank you, City Manager Vaughan, for supporting this initiative. We're going to be recognizing two very amazing young people this evening that won our Future Dispatcher Challenge. 4th and 5th graders in the area were asked to submit essays to the fire chief about why being a dispatcher is cool. After reviewing all the submissions, 2 essays stood out to us, and we have these fortunate winners here this evening. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they submitted to us. So our 4th grade winner wrote, "The fire raged from the Christmas tree in the house as children and parents screamed for help. An attentive neighbor put in a call to the fire dispatcher. A sweet, calm voice answered." He goes on to say that being a dispatcher is so cool. You get to talk to a lot of people. There's action and adventure because you don't know where you're going to send a crew. You get to save lives by knowing exactly what to do and telling people in a calm way. By the way, the quick-thinking dispatcher saved the kids and parents from the Christmas tree fire. Our 5th grade winner wrote, "Imagine this, your new cat is stuck in a tree, and because you just got Mr. Derfluffentail, he hasn't warmed up to you yet, making it so he won't come down to you. You call the fire department, tell the person on the phone the situation, and in not too many minutes later, A fire truck shows up to your home, and the firemen inside the truck save Mr. DeFluffentail from the tree. You thank the firemen for saving Mr. DeFluffentail, and they head back to the fire station. She goes on to say, this makes you wonder, how did they get here so quickly? Well, that's all thanks to dispatch. Dispatch is one of the most important positions in the public safety department, and in this case, in the fire department. You may be asking, but what do they do? Well, actually, they do a lot of cool things. The dispatcher takes calls from people who call the fire department, ask your wireless carrier to figure out where your call came from, alert the firemen, giving them the situation and the location, and more helpful things to help the world keep in order. I can definitely say I would love to be in this career, and it sure is cool to be a dispatcher. We would like to congratulate a couple of individuals this evening. They had an opportunity to come out to our dispatch center and take a tour. I'm going to see if I can actually we have just a short video of them coming over to the comm center, and I am going to just see if I can, there it is, okay. It's just very short, but it's really a cool experience. So we're going to show this to you now, I hope. So we would like to congratulate Andrew Gannon, a 4th grader from Emmanuel Christian Academy, and Macy Steffen, a 5th grader from Nicole Pond's Prenda class. These 2 young people visited our 911 center on December 2nd and had a great time learning that being a dispatcher is indeed a very cool thing. Andrew and Macy, if you'd come up, please. And Mayor Miles, you have the certificates?
Yes. I'd like to ask the council to join me as we give these certificates to Andrew and Macy. And I'd like to thank you for doing all the work behind, and the team for putting all the work into having this contest. This is workforce development at its finest.
Exactly.
And we really hope to see you some year in the future as a dispatcher in the city of Kingman. So with great pride, we'll give you these certificates.
You guys are welcome to photos.
Help us.
Okay. You guys come right up here to the mayor. Okay.
I think it's probably better if you guys probably step down a little bit, or some of you remain up there, and then we'll have Mayor down here. All right, so I'm gonna have you just kind of angle, so you guys are gonna look at me, and then kind of step back a little bit closer to the mayor. Well, she won't bite, she's nice.
Congratulations.
next order of business, thank you. And thank you, families, for supporting them. Our next order of business is call to the public. These are limited to 3 minutes and should be, and those wishing to do so should fill out request forms in advance, or because this is a hybrid meeting, ask the clerk to register them and have email comments or Zoom comments. And there will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
Madam Mayor, we did not have anybody registered to join us via Zoom tonight, and we have no written comments that we've received ahead of time. We have nobody in the audience signed up as well.
In that case, we will move on. And we'll move to the consent agenda. All matters listed here are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Would any of the council members like to remove an item from the consent agenda to be considered separately? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda, items A through,
So
I'm-
moved. Sorry.
Councilor Samley, and Vice Mayor was second.
Yes, there we go. As stated.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Tonight we have no old business, we have no new business. I guess we can go home. No. No. We have some exciting reports, and we're really looking forward to them. And the first one is one that is just transformative for the Kingman region, and that is the Aloe Broadband build. And to introduce this tonight, we are very fortunate to have Supervisor Lingenfelter here to introduce our partners from Aloe. And so we appreciate all the work that has been done, Supervisor, and I'll turn it over to you.
Mayor Miles, Council, it's Manager Fogden. It's great to be here tonight to share this exciting news with you. And that news is that as of next year, starting next year, the City of Kingman, we're going to be getting the fastest broadband, 100% fiber network, fastest broadband in the state of Arizona, and some of the very fastest broadband in the whole Southwest, courtesy of these guys. So I just want to give you Reader's Digest version of how we got here. As you all know, Mojave County, we all received $41 million at the county. I put a proposal on our agenda in April to say, why don't we split this evenly 5 ways? The board thought that was a good idea. We did do that. Obviously, one of the things that is allowable is broadband. So I worked very closely with our IT folks, economic development, also the City of Kingman's economic development in writing the scope of an RFP that we put out in September. That received 4 sealed proposals, Aloe being one of those. It was reviewed and scored by a selection committee, and just yesterday we approved that public-private partnership. So District 1, I decided to kick in $4 million, which is about half of our District 1 allocation to that. And Aloe's kicking in $43 million of private capital to build that. So it's a game changer. It's going to change the way our students learn, our residents work, and already the word's getting out. I don't know if any of you are on LinkedIn, but Mr. Sabatka, who's the state broadband director, put us out on LinkedIn already. So it's good for us. Excuse the mask. I just felt like I was coming down with a little bit of a cold or something, so it's atypical, but I thought I'd mask up. So, but without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Brad Moline, CEO of Aloe fiber. Thank you.
See if I can, whoops, launch.
Welcome, Mr. Moline.
Thank you. I'm going to see if I can launch this. There we go. I think this is it. There we go. There. Hey, I got it done. Well, number one, Mayor and council members, thank you for the opportunity to come and discuss this with you tonight. Oh, somebody else is running it too. There you go. Sorry about that. I'm excited about Kingman. Doc Weininger, a few months ago, said, as Aloe's looking to expand, you've got to look at Arizona. I think it might have been because he wanted to live in Arizona and he was moving from Nebraska, and I decided to appease him and go on a tour to tell him why Arizona didn't make sense to invest in. And I found out the exact opposite. The team from the county, from the cities of Arizona, showed really what the opportunities were. And so I'm going to go through a really quick slideshow and ask any questions so that you can figure out who is Aloe and how is this going to even work. And so I'll explain it pretty quickly. Oops. Now it's really... It looks like it's... There we go. Well, can I advance the slides here? Or? All right, there we go. All right, I'll move. We've been at this for a while. I founded Aloe in 2003, and believe it or not, we started building fiber networks then. So that was 6 or 8 years before the iPhone, and we started building fiber to businesses. In about 2011, we moved to ubiquitous builds, businesses and residents. So today, we'll fast forward. We have 2 great partners that fund us. Nelnet, if you've ever had a student loan, there's a good chance that Nelnet has supported it, and they've invested in us in a diversified manner, as well as STC Capital. But today we pass about 800,000 in population, and we'll obviously continue and expand that. We have 4 core values. We don't have a mission statement or anything else. It's to be honest, it's to be exceptional, it's to be hassle-free, and it's to be local. That's the way we'll work with you. We'll work with our vendors, our employees, and most important, our new customers. We live these values every day. It's more than a trite saying or way we actually say, is that really hassle-free how we're operating? And maybe most important, it's to be local. That means to put people into the community, have a local sales office, have local people that we really hope get involved in the community, not just writing checks to support this event or that, but we really want people participating, coaching baseball, maybe sitting on the city council and other things. Long term, that's how I know we're successful in a market. I was in one of our markets recently, and the president of the chamber worked for Aloe. Somebody on the council worked for Aloe, and I said, now that's being local. And so that's what our goal is. We have it's a little outdated, about 800 employees, over 100,000 customers. So that means we're big enough to have some scale, but not so big that we don't forget how important customers are. You can see what Nebraska looks like. That's where we started, and really there's not many more communities for us to build in Nebraska. We don't focus on the largest metros, and so Omaha would be in Nebraska, but about 2/3 of the population outside of Omaha we provide either gig or 10 gig service to. Northeast Colorado is another area that's very important to us, and now we're moving to Arizona. Our goal, it really looks like Arizona will end up having the most population when we're done building, because Arizona has more population than those other states. We not only try to compete for service and all that, we win awards nationally. We're generally considered in the top 10 of ISPs in the country. That's probably the easiest way. It isn't just download speeds. Your Netflix doesn't buffer, that type of thing. It's also upload speeds and very low latency, which helps with businesses. Our Net Promoter Scores are off the charts. Usually 70 Net Promoter Scores are considered world-class. We pull a 68. We're almost there. We'll get there. We have a lot of public-private partnerships, and that's one we've really appreciated working with the county and others across the state. I think it's an awesome way to build. Arizona isn't the easiest place to build, and so that money really helps out. This is important to us. I'll try to speed it up a little bit. And that is, we want everybody to be covered. The emergency broadband benefit is just an outstanding program. It's morphing a little bit at the end of the year, but it's the first since I've been in the industry where we're really breaking down the digital divide. Everybody needs to be covered so that they can learn and work from home equally. We offer internet, TV, phone for residents. The community will be based on a 10 gig to the home solution, which is as fast as it gets right now. Businesses, equally as important, internet, phone, TV, also access to the cloud. It's very important that the business and the residential will compete for these services and create a gigabit society. We're in the process right now where we've determined the greater Kingman area is interesting to us. We'll be getting the agreements completed, and then we'll start construction, I would guess, in the second quarter of next year. And it'll be about a 2-year process, but our goal is for a ubiquitous build. There's always a few outlying areas, but our goal is to serve everyone and to change how the community can operate and compete with your existing providers. After the construction, we're kind of joined at the hip. For the next 30, 40, 50 years, we'll be here as a fellow utility. It's very important that this whole process is safe, it's done right, and that we'll become a good partner in your community. So I like to say it's your community right now in about 2 years, and then it'll be our community, because you'll see a lot of our people in the community. We do a lot of our own work, and we don't outsource a lot of it. So you'll be seeing us with a lot of jackets and a lot of trucks. You may have seen some of our trucks already. It is disruptive over the next 2 years, but the outcome's great. We try to take all the calls ourselves. We advertise, here's what the process is, here's the area. We basically divide the city into 1,000 rooftops for the cities, and say what the process is and when they'll be done, and we communicate and we knock on doors, tell them we're going to be in your backyard, because we don't want you guys taking the calls. You will, though. It just happens. But we hope you just hairpin them right to us. And we develop great relationships with communities and the residents, and we believe have a great competitive product at the end. Every community is different. We can't wait to learn the unique things about your community, because you can see the word local again. That's what it'll be. I'd love to say hassle-free is during the construction process, but that wouldn't be honest. Another one of our values. It is somewhat of a hassle, but short-lived, and we believe that the next 30 or 40 years, it's worth it. So I moved rather fast through that. That's who we are. You now have my email. I'm not afraid to give my email out because I'm quite proud of what we do. And if there's ever any questions, please reach out to us. Communication between the utility departments, the city council, the mayor's office, everything is the key to success. And so we can't wait to get to work. We've already been working really for about 4.5 months now, doing designs and vetting this. I can't wait to see what we can deliver together here. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Questions?
I just had a comment. Thank you so much for investing in our community and seeing what we have to offer, because you will be busy here for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's, again, your community's leadership has welcomed us, and to be honest with you, that's what got us here. So we inquired, and then all of a sudden, wow, this is pretty amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead,
I
Councilor
just have a
Mello.
comment. I just wanted to thank Supervisor Lingenfelter for championing this and bringing it to our community. And we are thrilled that you're here, and we will have, bring it out to the community and positively, and to be patient. It's going to be worth it. So thank you so much.
Anything else? Well, I echo those sentiments. I have a few questions.
Okay.
2 years of hassle, a little bit. What kind of things are our citizens most likely going to experience in terms of potential disruption? But also at the end of this, I expect you're going to be cost competitive, and so can you speak a little bit to the value aspect?
Well, one, and I didn't do a very good job of explaining it. We'll start construction sometime next, second quarter next year. The first customers will come live in about 120, 150 days. It's just somebody has to be first, somebody has to be last. We don't do competitions, that this neighborhood signed up more people. We don't believe in that. Engineering and construction will determine the process. And so I did want to, it's not like it's going to be 2 years and then you get the benefits.
Okay.
Generally, we find that we're about 10% less expensive than the incumbents. That's just a good rule of thumb. But we offer world-class services. It includes a Wi-Fi 6 router, that can handle, now your wireless devices usually can't, but it can handle 2 or 3 gigs wirelessly. A very consistent basis. You can add 100 plus devices to your home, to your business at once, and it doesn't suffer from congestion. Everybody's experienced it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, all of a sudden everything gets real slow. It's a new design. You won't see that. We don't do contracts. Fire us if you don't like us. We'd rather earn your business every day, like most other businesses, whether you're a bank or an insurance company or all those types of things. And because we earn the business every day, generally we do a pretty good job. But any other questions that I missed on that?
Well, from what I hear, you start maybe the second quarter of next year, and then there's 120 days or thereabouts to work one segment of the city.
Yep.
And then they have the service, and you move to the next segment of the city.
Well, we'll probably be operating in 2 or 3 areas at once,
Oh,
2 or
okay.
3 of the groups, and then doing, it's a variety of things. Let's say installing strand wire and doing underground construction, and then even before that one's live, we'll be moved on to the next 3, and then our teams will come in and splice the fiber and that. You asked one question that I didn't answer. What are the complaints? These guys are parked in the roads, and I had to go 3 blocks around them. We try to limit that. That's a lot of it. It used to be years ago, hey, we didn't know that they were coming. We now put door hangers on, we advertise, and we send mailers and all that. We don't hear much of those complaints, but still, occasionally people, well, who are these guys? And so you'll see a few things like that. And then it is disruptive. So we'll be going underground, and we'll disturb certain areas, or we'll have to put in a pedestal somewhere, same pedestals everybody else uses. And why my yard, or why, and what we try to do is hide them, put them by the others. And so every once in a while there'll be a comment along those lines.
Thank you. It's good to know what's coming.
Yeah. And that's our goal, is to communicate.
Yeah.
Through this whole process, communication will determine success.
Well, as has been said, this is a great, I think Doc Wininger
I wanted to
has
add just one thing.
wanted to add
Brad,
something.
I'm Doc Weiniger. I'm the
Weiniger.
Director of External Relations for Aloe. And the one thing I wanted to emphasize is we'll be hiring quite a few people locally. In Mojave County, we expect to have approximately 75 employees, perhaps more, between this market and Lake Havasu City. And it's all kinds of positions, because we do as many things locally as we possibly can. We'll have customer service representatives locally. We'll have our installers will all be local. We do our own locating, so we don't contract that out. So we'll be hiring locators, we'll be hiring splicers. So there'll be technical people, salespeople, and we already are hiring in Lake Havasu City, and we'll be hiring soon in Kingman also. So people can check our website for those jobs. But I wanted to make sure you knew that we were going to be hiring and having a pretty good size permanent base of employees here. And during construction, you're going to see 100, 200 people, during the construction process that will be here. So we'll be keeping a lot of the hotels full as well, temporary, but we will have.
Hotels and restaurants, right?
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of trucks,
Fabulous.
but we will have
Yeah.
a lot of permanent employees too. So encourage people that might be interested in technical type work or even customer service work to check out the positions that we'll be hiring.
So I like to say, we're not hiring, we develop careers.
Right.
So.
Well, this is a huge benefit to our city, and I think you can count on every person on this dais to be a supporter in the community, and just very excited about what you're doing. Supervisor?
Mayor Miles and council, thank you again for the opportunity to bring these guys to you tonight, to introduce them to you. And importantly, thank you for all that you guys are continuing to do for our community to move it forward. Economic development wise, which I know many of you are passionate about that. The Kingman Airport and Industrial Park is going to be the only industrial park in Arizona that's capable of, 100G?
Well, it can go as fast as you want it to.
Unlimited. Yeah. So I'm sure your economic development folks will start getting some calls.
I don't see Bennett jumping up and down. Okay, his thumbs up, he's smiling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor, please go ahead.
Doc, or I'm sorry.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Actually, you had sort of mentioned it out there. You throw a number, just a target price of what we're looking at. I mean, first, let me back up. It's exciting to be getting fiber. I have kids scattered across the country in big cities, and they all brag how fast their fiber is, and their internet service. And so this is amazing. But you had mentioned typically you're around 10% cheaper than others?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get an idea, just so the citizens have an idea what to expect.
We start with a $45 product.
Okay.
That's 50 meg up and down. It really ties most to our EBB program and the low income. Most people today buy the 500 meg up and down, and that's going to be $60 to $65-ish. But it includes the router. And then our gig service is usually around $85 to $95. And then it's brand new, but we'll launch with a 2.5 gig to the home. We would go to 10, but I don't think there's any devices made that use it, so it'll be a 2.5, and it'll go for 125 to 150, somewhere in there. And then there's linear TV, and we're a phone company, so we don't do internet-based phone. It's based here, and that's at normal rates.
No, sounds like very fair
I would
pricing.
love to say that we could make TV cheaper, but your Arizona Cardinals are pretty popular right now, and all those guys want to be paid a lot, and it ends up going right back to all of us.
And Councilmember,
I'm a Chiefs fan, actually, but
it's important, all of our pricing's online on our website.
Okay.
And the price, Brad likes to say, if you've been a customer for 5 days or 5 years, the price is the same. We don't do 6 months, it's $19, and then it goes to
119.
Yeah, mine right now in Phoenix, it's $70 for the first year, and then it goes to $117 the second year. But you can't find that on their website, it was way down in the fine print. We don't do that. The price is the price, and all of our price for our video, voice, and internet are all on our website, aloefiber.com, if you want to look at it.
Yeah, I would guess we'll have the Kingman site up in probably the next 60 days. I hope we beat that, but I'll give our developers a little bit of time.
Well, once again, thank you. And didn't mean to put you on the spot. And once again, but I knew I'm sure you had a target price out there that you were looking at.
And once the Kingman website is up, you can follow anybody can follow the construction process, and it'll give the order in which it'll give the locations of the grid, and you'll be able to follow when your neighborhood is, when we're going to be getting there.
And we are a competitive company. We're not shy. You'll see us around.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great question. Our next presentation will be bird scooters.
Thank you, Mayor.
Manager Foggin.
We actually have a representative from Bird Scooters. I will have Bennett, who has been working closely with them to talk about to introduce them, and also, we will do our best to answer any questions along with the bird rep at the end. So, Bennett.
Thanks, Ron. And I'm very excited about that industrial park, adding on to the fiber capabilities. So it's going to be awesome. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members. It's good seeing everybody here. It's been a little bit of time since I've been able to see everybody's face. So the economic development team is that we're excited about the introduction of a possible opportunity for our city, a national known rideshare company operating in the city of Kingman. A few months back, the city was approached by Bird in regards to coming to the Kingman market. Since then, we've been in discussions with them about how their presence possibly might look here in our city. Our discussions have moved in the direction of possibly a pilot program. So in the coming weeks, it's going to be our goal to bring back to the council that operating agreement for you guys to potentially consider. We thought a good way to start this introduction into our community and the city council would be via this process, the department report process. So we asked a representative from Bird Scooter to provide the city council an introduction and overview of their company and how it works. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Butler. He's the senior executive for the city partnerships to provide that overview. So Mike, if you're there, why don't you take it from here?
I am, yeah. Thanks, Bennett, for the warm introduction. My name is Mike Butler. I'm on our city partnerships team here at Bird, focused on the kind of west and southwest corridor of the U.S. So we can run through this presentation for about 5 or 7 minutes, and then I'll open it up for some questions. Either whoever is driving this right now can do it, or I can actually share my screen. What would be the best way to do so?
We actually have your presentation up, and we can advance it for you.
Okay, excellent. Well, you can move on to the next slide. So I think what's most important about, why our business began, I think oftentimes businesses start with, why we do what we do. And the simple answer to that is really to improve our communities and, of course, improve the lives of the folks within those communities. Next slide. And how we do so is by being this micromobility or transportation company focused on shared electric vehicles. Our goal by doing that, of course, is to help people get to where they want to go and help people get to where they need to go. Next slide. Our story is relatively new. We started this company in 2017, saw a ton of success in the early days as really the beginner or pioneer of the space. We're the first company in the world to do this. At the time, was kind of a wacky idea. You fast forward to where we are today in 2021, and we went from being operating in one city to now onto 5 continents, about 25 countries, about 375 cities, and just eclipsed 100 million rides. So 100 million times a rider in our markets have trusted us to get to where they want to go. And we are widely seen as the most trusted provider of this in the whole world. And these really are cities, big and small. I think the biggest question that I get oftentimes from cities like Kingman is folks are saying, hey, I understand you're in Phoenix. I understand that you're in Los Angeles and San Francisco. But why would you want to come here? And the reality of it is that of the 250 cities that were live in the U.S., the overwhelming majority of them sit within about a 25,000 to about 50,000 population. And I think people are really surprised to hear that, that they see this service being done in a place like Phoenix, but they don't see it in a place like Fort Scott, Kansas, or you don't see it in a place like Yuma, Arizona, or Somerton, Arizona, because maybe you're not traveling there. So our goal is to help kind of adjust and change that perception, because the Kingman market we know to be a city that will be successful in this. Now, if you're not familiar with the service, it's very simple. These vehicles will be placed strategically throughout the area. It's all application based, so you download the app, you verify your age, you put your payment information in. You're going to be required to complete a series of tutorials and videos and guides and an introduction to local laws to make sure you know what you're doing in the city of Kingman. And then you ride this the same way you would a bicycle on the street. And there is some talk on how this will be used. We've actually already conducted the market research for this to ensure that this is something that is viable for us. And what we see as a general usage is a pretty even split between a type of utility and then a type of recreation. So the usage is going to vary. It's going to help people, run an errand, get to work, whatever that may be. And then the flip side of that is recreational. It's a nice day outside, so you can go out there and enjoy something like this because it's seen as an amenity in the city. The pricing is pretty standard. It's average ride's going to sit around $6 to $7, but we do have some discounts available if you are enrolled in things like a government assistance program. If you're a veteran, if you're a senior citizen, if you're a healthcare worker, you actually get to ride for free. So we do all this to help democratize this type of service. It's not just for one select group. And because every city, and we know that a place like Kingman is unique, we have to be able to program our vehicles to act in a certain way if they enter a certain zone or enter a certain quadrant of the city. So major cities like Berlin, Germany, or Rome, Italy, or New York City, or Chicago, the regulations and what's required of us is the size of a dictionary. So what we've had to do is build some very sophisticated technology to actually program the vehicles to where if they enter a certain zone, that actually the vehicle can actually slow down to a certain speed, or it can come to a halt entirely. So something like this is actually far more sophisticated than what you see in even your automobiles today. And we just need to know ahead of time in the city of Kingman in order to program that accordingly. Another, question that I get or comment I get from a lot of cities is around clutter. And I think it's really valid because, again, oftentimes people see this type of service in a place like Phoenix, for example, where there's thousands and thousands of vehicles and multiple vendors doing this. That type of scenario is not realistic in a place like Kingman. It's really just a numbers game at this point because we'd be talking about 50, 75, maybe 100 units that would be in circulation at any given time. And then on top of that, we're continuing to do things to educate riders on how to park properly, how to ride properly. We nudge a certain desired behavior if a rider enters a certain area and we know there to be a preferred parking zone. We'll actually give them a discount on their ride if they do end their ride there. The local presence is something that we actually already have in the city of Kingman, and I'll talk about it in the next slide. And then a couple other things so if you want to go back. The make space is an interesting one. A lot of cities will actually stripe out certain locations or put up some signs as a way to promote people to park properly. It's not required, but we see a lot of cities do it. And then the last thing here about leveraging data, we're going to give the city for free access to all of this movement data, all of this rider data. Where are people taking this? What businesses are they stopping in? And how the city chooses to use that is up to you, but it's a really unique set of data because it's otherwise unobtainable. And then lastly, how we run operations is actually somewhat similar to that previous business with Aloe. We do all of this locally. So these are local entrepreneurs or local businesses that are going to be responsible for deploying these vehicles, servicing them, charging them, repairing them, ensuring that they're tidy and upright and in the right spots. And they're actually completely incentivized to do so because there's a revenue sharing model attached to that. So we've actually already identified a really high quality candidate in a business and an entrepreneur in the city of Kingman. So we're really excited about him and what he's done because he's very knowledgeable about the business. But we think that while we have a ton of the operational know-how, the hardware and the software, he really takes it the rest of the way because he's local and understands the market and understands the people and really wants to make something like this succeed. And then lastly, our proposal is really simple. It's very cut and dry. There's no dollars attached to this. This is zero investment, zero capital commitment. You'd have a dedicated point person that actually is at Bird HQ that is there to ensure the success of the program. Access to that data. We already have a number of vehicles that's been figured out. Our launch date is, of course, pending city approval, and that documentation that we have has actually already been finalized by the attorney. So I'll pause. I know that was a lot there, and I would prefer to stop talking and open it up to the rest of the group for any questions or comments.
Councilors, questions? Please go ahead.
I have a
Councilor
couple of
Staley.
questions if someone isn't speaking yet.
Councilor Nelson, Councilor Staley first, and then you.
Fantastic.
Okay, so first of all, I want to start by saying these are a lot of fun, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I do have some questions. The first would be to Mr. Cooper. We have what I would call a ridiculous law downtown that there are no coasting vehicles. And so my question is wouldn't we need, if we were going to have these downtown, which is the ideal place for them, wouldn't we need to get rid of that law first?
No,
We wouldn't.
no. The
Why?
coasting vehicles is the skateboards.
So this is like a skateboard with a handlebar, though. It's such a
Powered.
gray area.
Yeah, this is not a coasting vehicle. This
Yeah,
is
these are powered, which are not coasting. So they absolutely fit within, and that's really kind of where we see the most use is from the powerhouse to the electric car museum.
Right. But I just don't, I mean, how is a scooter different than a skateboard? If you're banning one, I understand they're motorized.
That's how
it's the same thing. It's the same idea why you would ban a skateboard. So and it doesn't even seem fair to me that you say, oh, you can't have a skateboard, but you can have these scooters. So I would say to the council that if we're going to do this, to be fair to everybody, and we do have a new skate shop downtown, we should get rid of the coasting vehicle law and allow
That's
and allow
council.
everybody.
That's a
And,
council
and this is
discussion.
a report, so there's no action to be taken
I
tonight,
guess I
but,
was
but we'll,
asking you
we can
for
factor
those
in.
clarifications on what is
So-
coasting, but
comment.
saying that we should get rid of that rule.
So my clarification is they're two separate because one is
Right.
powered, it is not a coasting vehicle.
Okay.
So, but if the council so desires to, like that predates me,
Yeah, it's
more than
been a
welcome to
long
take
time,
that
since the
issue up.
80s.
That's council,
Okay.
so.
There's also, I would point out that there's rules for where these can be ridden and where they can't, right? So these have to be on the street, not on the sidewalk, which is a huge difference.
Right. Yeah, I think that the skateboard's focus is on the sidewalk and pedestrian skateboard interaction is, I think that's the genesis of that.
Or we could just say you can't skate on the sidewalk, but you can on the streets downtown.
Whatever the council
Okay.
decides.
My next question is, if we allow this, do we have a part of the liability if somebody gets hurt? Sorry, that's still you, Mr. Cooper.
As we're going through discussions with these folks, we're addressing that with insurance indemnification. And no matter what happens, anytime something occurs, the city's going to be involved. And like I say, that's why you have insurance to try and deal with that. But I would say our liability is always there, but it's addressed with your standard risk mitigation.
Okay. And my last question is to the presenter. I've seen in other communities with these scooters where they just are laying on the sidewalks, they're in landscaping, they're just scattered kind of everywhere. And I know you had addressed some things to try to get people to park them in a more appropriate place, but will this local person be going around to sort of collect them and clean them up so that they aren't in the middle of sidewalks and that kind of thing?
Yeah, of course. And I think you bring up a good point. Again, if you've seen this done, it is possible that you've seen it done in these kind of big cities where there's such a volume game there. And you know, we're only one company. We can't really control the operations of other companies, but oftentimes people do kind of loop them in together. But to your question, yes. So this, we call this person a fleet manager. It is entirely their business. It's not that they are an independent contractor. They're not just an employee of ours. They really are a business whose sole responsibility is to ensure the success of this. So they are there to do this, you know, throughout business hours, constantly repositioning vehicles, making sure they're in the right spots, keeping them tidy, servicing them, charging them, repairing them, all of the above. And this is how we operate in actually every market. So it doesn't matter if this is a small city with 5,000 people or a big city with 5 million.
Great, thank you.
Counselor Nelson?
Thank you, Mayor. Super excited about this, something that I have been asking for so long. So I think the exciting part about this is not only can we set parameters up downtown, but we can actually look at working with a local company and setting parameters up on, I don't know, Andy Devine as we get new businesses, maybe even, obviously MCC would be a very logical place because you've got the college campus. The potential that this gives us is amazing. And as I do have to agree with Jamie on the Councilor Staley is the liability, but the business owner and the company and the city will probably be more than enough there, and we should be in pretty good shape, I would think, as far as that liability goes, just speaking from an insurance perspective. But this is wonderful, so exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Nelson. Anyone else? Counselor Mello?
So it's going to be like in a bike lane type of thing in the road? There'll be bike lane where
Yeah.
there'll be,
Yeah, the requirement would be that the riders, part of the training, if you download the app and look at it, is that, as Mike had pointed out, there's all the local laws are there, and you really, it's no different than riding a bicycle, right? So it's one of those things where there's not a bike lane, you have a right to the portion of the road, and cars have to watch for you, right? But yes, they'd take advantage of bike lanes as much as possible.
I have just probably a simple question. Is there only one model, or are there options for those who aren't comfortable on that little piece of whatever? And two, how fast do these things go?
Yeah, so they're extremely safe. Every safety measure that people do, it's in parity with bicycles. So right now we have just the electric scooters that are available to the city of Kingman, but we are introducing electric bikes to a lot of our markets that could, and I want to emphasize, could be available down the road in 2022. And they go 15 miles an hour. So we did a lot of studying to make sure that we were matching the speed of a novice bicyclist. Can't exceed 15 miles an hour.
Okay.
And Mayor, just so you know, the platform on these is much wider than the scooters that you've seen like kids have. So the platform on them, I believe, are 6 inches or roughly 6 inches, 6 to 8 inches, and like a Razor is like 3 inches. So it's dramatically different as far as safety.
Okay, yes. About 18 inches, and I'll be okay. Training wheels, yes. Okay, any other questions, any comments? Well, I know that you'll bring this back to us when all of the materials are ready, and before we actually act on it, we can look at all of the things that have been mentioned here.
Yes, and just as a reminder, we approach this as a pilot program, not as this is ultimate, we're going to just do it. There is going to be an opportunity to learn from this program to see if it actually works for us in the areas that we think it will benefit the community. And really, I mean, part of it is try to help our tourism economy and really encourage people to be able to visit the downtown without having to take cars, which of course we've really been trying to put an emphasis. Our streetscape project will put an emphasis on pedestrian safety and pedestrian inclusion, and so we thought that this program really matched up with that. But this is a pilot program, and if it's working, awesome, we can continue it. If it's not, then we have an out as well. So
Thank you. That's good. Having no other questions, I just want to thank Mike Butler for presenting and for working with our team here to offer this opportunity. And
And
yes,
I really like to thank the Bennett and the Edie team, Josh and Sylvia, for all that they've done to do the research, because all of your questions were my questions, and I worry about all the same things that have been pointed out, plus some that I've seen these in big cities as well, and I appreciate Mike recognizing that it there is a number of scooter companies to pick from, and I think they all get lumped into the same hat of maybe are bad or that there's problems with them. And a research on Bird has shown us that Bird scooters have been responsible, and the fact that they have a local person that's going to be able to take care of the business, it was actually exciting to us. So.
thank you. Now, this local person, I couldn't tell exactly the construct of their business model, but is our agreement, if we chose to go to a pilot program, with Bird or with this local person, or are they one and the same?
It's with Bird,
With Bird.
and Bird will utilize this person to take care of their side of the business.
Okay, thank you. Well, again, and we thank the whole ED team, Bennett and all of Sylvia, Josh, I see you're here. So thank you all. We look forward to getting more information. Our last department report is the League Legislative Priorities. Manager Foggin, or?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
So as you all know, the legislature's getting ready to gear up in January. And as part of what is happening or getting ready to happen, we thought that it would be important to share with you kind of what the League of Cities is talking about prior to the session starting. So Colleen Haynes, our government liaison that is helping us with really guiding us through the legislative sessions, went and met with her peers, and they talked with the league about what the plans are. And so with that, I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to share what the league is looking at, what we're looking at, albeit it's not a lot, but maybe more about what we're guarding against. And so Colleen was going to share what she learned at the league meeting. So, Ms. Colleen, you've lost control of the
I actually see
computer.
somebody else is controlling this right now.
Yeah,
So, okay.
IT
All right,
has
give
been
it back,
doing
please.
it.
Give it back. Give it back. Okay. Mayor, councilors, thanks for having me back. If you're tired of me now, get used to me because session's going to be long again. So what I just want to kind of touch on tonight is the main thing is a lot of times you'll get emails forwarded from me or Manager Foggin that talk about request to speak or please sign on and say you're for something or against something, thumbs up, thumbs down. And it kind of came across to us that maybe all of you aren't aware of that or how to access it. So I just kind of want to walk through that just briefly of how to access it because it is important. The legislators are given this of who's in support, cities, elected officials, before, their committee meetings. You can add comments of why you think we should be for something or against it. So it is important. It's not as important as testifying in person, but it's definitely an important tool that we utilize. So I'd say that the easiest way to get to it would be the Arizona Legislature's website, azleg.gov. Pretty easy to remember, right? Legislative information, request to speak. You click that, and that's going to take you to that website. So I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. So this right here, if you don't already have an account, you'll have to create an account, just like everything else that you have to access now. So I'll just kind of show you mine really quick, so you can kind of just see what it'll look like when you get into the platform. We can't really access, right now there's already 34 bills posted, but we can't really access it because session hasn't started. So I'll just kind of show you what it looks like from last session. Okay, so request to speak, bill status inquiry. So if you know a specific bill, which you will, because I'll say, hey, this is House Bill 2049, please sign in and against it, or please sign in for it, and here's some reasons why if you choose to leave some comments. So you can do request to speak, and then this will say 55th Legislature, second regular session. So we already did the first earlier this year, the second will start January 10th of next year. So this is just a list of every bill that I signed in on representing the city of Kingman of what we were for, what we were against, or if I left comments or not, or if it was just like the league said, oh my gosh, everyone tomorrow, hurry and sign on against this. It was a striker bill, it totally changed. Get in and do it. Okay, let's run and do that. So, so it's quite a bit. And we don't do that for everyone. Some of them we just monitor, we don't support. We just kind of say, hey, we'll step back and see how it changes throughout the session. So this is just an example of what it would look like. Or you can go into your bill status inquiry of, what bill number am I looking for, that will be included in the email. Like I said, House Bill 2049. So you just go in there and then it'll give you like a thumbs up, thumbs down. You're already logged into your account and then you can leave comments. So pretty simple. So with that, I'll ask if you have any questions just regarding the request to speak.
Mayor, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Is it important to have, I do have an account, but it's not under my city email. So is it important to have a separate account?
That's up
have
to you.
multiple accounts?
You can, because you're not registering as a lobbyist, so it doesn't matter, but you can definitely put in your comments, I'm representing the city of Kingman, I'm a council member here, this is why it would be great for our city, or this is why it wouldn't be great for our city, and leave those kind of comments.
Okay, but you can have multiple accounts if I choose to. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, just tied to an email, so.
Anything else?
Okay,
That's
so
good
then
to
moving
know.
on, just real quick, I'll touch on the retreat I attended last week with other intergovs and people from the league. And I wanted to just kind of bring people up to speed of just changes that happened at the league as far as their legislative leadership. Tom Belshie is still the director of the league. However, Nick Ponder is no longer the legislative director at the league. Tom Savage is now, who's been there a long time. I've worked with him as well, so won't have a problem with that transition. Nick will still lobby for the league, but he's on contract with Higher Ground, a PR firm down in Phoenix as well. So just a heads up with that. You'll still, if you're down there commenting or testifying, you'll probably still see Nick assisting the league, but he's not formally working for the league anymore. He's now at Higher Ground. And then the rest of the staff will remain the same. They're also doing some contract work with Higher Ground for some lobbying work as well to reach out to some other legislators. There will be 11 new legislators just this session. 11 resigned or quit for running for office or for other reasons. So we will have 11 new legislators that they're trying to bring up to speed and make friends with and hopefully sway them a little bit for cities and towns. With that, some of the focus, I know Representative Biasucci really touched on this. A big focus this session is going to be the workforce housing and what that looks like for the entire state. And I think our focus, talking with Manager Fogg, and I've talked with City Attorney Cooper about this, I've talked with planning and zoning and also engineering, is we just want to make sure that whatever law is passed, it remains local control, because I think we all know what happens in Phoenix should stay in Phoenix and not make its way here, especially when it comes to building. I think the council would like to keep that local control. So that's our focus with workforce housing. Of course, short-term rentals is going to be a hot topic this year as well. We will, of course, follow Havasu's lead and support the bill of their choosing in like the tri-state what they decide as well. Another topic that they're going to focus on is homelessness and what that looks like across the state, as far as there was a mention of, do we put homeless people on state lands? And I'm sure state lands will have a lot to say about that. So, and then I think, just some other stuff we'll keep our eye on: telecom fees, the vacant business registry, and, like I said, we'll monitor everything to make sure there's no statewide mandates or unfunded decisions that come our way. So with that, I'll take any questions. Pretty brief update, just gearing up for it. Like I said, it starts January 10th, and then they're supposed to go 100 days, but I have a feeling they'll go a little bit longer this year.
Questions? Well, thank you. We appreciate you monitoring and keeping us informed on these. And one thing that I would add to the list, and I don't know if they talked about it at the league, because I know you went down there, but today at the Water Authority meeting, Patrick Cunningham, who's with High Ground, spoke about the water issues. And we know that Representative Cobb is going to submit that legislation again. So has the league mentioned any of that?
The league does not follow water issues.
So
we do that individually, and that's why we have the private lobbyists. We have the Dorn policy group that will,
So
I
they
know,
will
Mayor,
be the
you've definitely testified on those
Well,
bills,
yeah.
and you'll be very active with those bills. But the league does not follow water because it's so split up around the state, and there are so many different statewide issues. They don't get involved in water. They don't get involved in education either. They are strictly cities and towns and what's best for cities and towns, except for water.
That's good to know. Well, now that you say it, I remember that, but yes.
But
That's
but
one
we'll
we will
definitely
be
tracking the water bills.
And
Yeah,
you'll keep us informed as we go,
absolutely.
too.
Mhm.
Yes, okay. Any other questions? All right, I think it's going to be a busy legislative season, but thank you for your help in that.
Yep.
And your work. Anything else, Manager Foggen? on
No,
that?
we there's going to be, there's a feel that there's going to be some encroachment on local control, and we're, of course, going to be very aware of those, and the opportunity to use whichever email you want to weigh in is going to be really important. Obviously, we have Tom and Cole that represent us very well, and if there's things that we need personally, in-person testimony, we'll lean on them. But there is some, I don't want to call it rumor, but there is some scuttlebutt out there that that the way permits are processed and the way that zoning is done may be attacked by the legislature this year or taken on. And we are definitely be calling on all of you to submit comments and give thumbs up or down on things, because it's really could be detrimental to our rural community, and which I think we have an excellent development and zoning process, and so we will definitely be paying attention to those things. So,
Thank you. Well, I'll add one thing on water. Because today, Patrick let us know that by next week, we should have the final report from the study committee that Supervisor Lingenfelter and I served on, as well as Patrick Cunningham. And this will include the 10 recommendations that came out of that. And we all believe that Representative Cobb will present her legislation based a great deal on the 10 recommendations of this committee. So I'm sure you'll be receiving that, and it can be shared also.
Yep.
Because that's something we'll want to support, or to have supported, and will support. And I think that's probably what I know about water right now. So thank you, and that is the end of our department reports. So we move to announcements by Mayor, council members, and city manager. Manager Foggin.
thank you, Mayor. I really only have one announcement, and that is at last council meeting, Councilor Samley had asked for an update on Rancho Santa Fe project. I was contacted between this meeting and the prior meeting from the developer, and I was planning on sharing what we knew up to that point, but it looks like I'll have better information at the 21st meeting. So we just pushed it to the December 21st meeting to cover it there. So we hadn't forgotten about you. We thought, instead of trying to cover it at 2 meetings, if there was a big change, that we would just do it on the 21st. So just wanted to let you all know that, and also I think we'll be able to share some information with regards to that update on kind of the MCC, their industrial manufacturing education facility that goes hand in hand with that project as well. And I just had a meeting with Stacy Klippenstein regarding that. So I think we'll have a good presentation for you on the 21st. So just to let you know. Other than that, I don't have any announcements.
Thank you. Okay. Councilor Walker. Councilor Samley.
I just wanted to say that I attended the downtown Very Merry Christmas Parade of Lights, and I wanted to thank all those that participated, all those that were involved in the planning, and I thought it was a great event for our community, from the tree lighting ceremony that was done at Locomotive Park all the way. That Beale Street was full, and it was very lively, very festive. So I wanted to thank the downtown merchants, and I believe the Chamber of Commerce had some hand in that too. So thank you again.
Thank you. Councilor Staley. Councilor Mello.
I also attended the tree lighting, and it was really nice. And I wanted to do a shout out to the White Cliffs Choir, because they sang beautifully that night. It made it really fun. And then also to Santa and Mrs. Claus, they showed up.
Oh, yes.
I know they're very busy this time of year, but that was nice to have them there. And then also, for just an update for Parks and Rec and Golf, we have some things going on there. We have some at the Hubs Park Playground. They're doing some autistic playground equipment there, which is near and dear to my heart. I have an autistic grandchild. And so I really appreciate that, Manager Vaughan and Director Mike Mearsman, for doing that. Also, the Bill Loop Trails, they've added a couple different loops, a shorter loop and a more challenging loop. So that if you guys might want to go, Jamie, and check that new one out. And then also a kid-friendly one. So that's just a little update from our trails, what's going on with Park and Rec. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Nelson.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
A couple of announcements. This coming Sunday at 6 o'clock over at the church building on the corner of Eastern and Southern by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there is actually a community Christmas music program. So it's for all the denominations, and just wanted to make sure everybody knows about that. And then I say this to myself, besides mentioning it, but if we all can strive to have an added measure of patience during this holiday season, with everybody running around crazy, and once again, I have to remind myself more than anybody else that I need to have more patience and concern as we drive around it, and be safe this season.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, I also attended the Street of Lights and the lighting, and I have little to add except this person that made a comment on my Facebook page, and she said, my daughter came from Las Vegas to attend this event, and she said it was like a Hallmark movie, and everyone was so nice. And I said, thank you for sharing her kind thoughts, because it really was. When I read that, I reflected on it, and it was very festive and very, just everybody was in a holiday spirit. The choirs were beautiful. The parade, the Beale Street was just lit up, and the floats were great. I don't think it could be any better. So kudos to everyone involved. And yeah, I was told by Manager Foggin, I think, that there were children lined up to talk to Santa until 9 p.m.
It's actually the best attended downtown light parade that we've had in a long time. So it was really great,
wonderful.
and really appreciate the council's support on that as well.
It was a great kickoff to the holiday season. And the other thing I'd like to mention is the event we had at the airport, to recognize and acknowledge Major Levine Farron on his 100th birthday. And this happened, when did this happen? Yesterday. God, there's just been too many things. But it was very meaningful because he flew in, and I give so much kudos to I'm going to get this right, the Aviation Heritage Center of Kingman. And I know that group with Tim Gerlach and Paul Gaines and Jill Gurnetsky worked so hard to pull this together with the city. And it was a great program. And he flew in, his family was there, and he served all 25 missions in World War II in Europe as a B-17 pilot. And they had a B-17, the Sentimental Journey, fly in. And I could keep talking about it, but I'll just say it was very meaningful. It was a delight to meet him, and it was just a first-class effort to tell his story and the story of so many that served our country and their courage. So thanks to everyone in the city and in the whole community that worked to make that happen. Okay, this meeting, I'm not going to forget to ask, are there any council requests for future reports or updates? Okay, thank you, Councilor Staley.
In anticipation of approving this contract with the Bird scooters, I would like to ask for an item where we can discuss potentially getting rid of the coasting vehicle law, and maybe if we could look at a law that just says pedestrians only downtown, to also keep the scooters off, because I know people are going to ride those scooters on the sidewalks as well, but to just make it more fair to everybody and to encourage everybody to be in our downtown, but to be safe at the same time.
Thank you.
Yes, I know.
Anything else?
Mayor,
Oh, yes.
I
good,
do.
Counselor
I
Samley.
just like to ask Manager Foggin, an ETA on the traffic study for Wallapai Mountain Road or that report.
I don't have an ETA. I know that it's been passed on to Public Works, and we will have it for you.
Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Did I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.